Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming today in person and on Zoom, and thank you to Roger for being our chairperson today. So today is our monthly memorial service for the month of April. In our Jodoshin tradition, the monthly memorial service is not done for the benefit of the deceased. Although memorial services are held in memory of a loved one who has passed away, the purpose of the memorial service is for us, the ones who remain behind. It is time to reflect upon our lives and express appreciation and gratitude for the many benefits we have received from those who passed away and how we are continually being influenced by them. This monthly memorial service allows us to collectively gather to honor our family and friends who have crossed over to the other shore. It is because of our family and friends that we have the life that we lead. And during this service, we take the time to reflect on the causes and conditions, some we know and much that we don't know, that have led us to be together today. If we take the time to do so, it can be a transformative experience. It is also not meant to be a somber occasion. In fact, the Japanese term for this service is shotsuki hoyo, and the kanji sho of shotsuki has a positive meaning. It means to celebrate, to appreciate, to embrace. It is the feeling of being joyous. Not that we're glad for the passing of our loved ones, but to remind it of our gratitude for their lives as we celebrate, appreciate, and embrace Amida Buddha. It is the person who passed away that has called us together and giving us the opportunity to listen to the teachings of the Buddha. It is their gift to us. So I'll start with a shorter Dharma talk for the Dharma School students so that they can be excused a little early to go to class. Just as a total aside, I have a little earworm now from that Gatha that I want to keep saying no, 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 right? So today I'd like to talk about the emotion of awe, spelled A-W-E, and not the sigh of relief of awe, right? Different. So there's a Japanese term, otagai-sama, which means we are in this together, and it expresses solidarity in identifying with each other's struggles. It's the realization that without the support of others, we would not survive. The support of others is not only who we can identify in our lives, but also the presence of something vast that goes beyond our understanding of the world. And this is what is important in Jodo Shinshu, our relationship with others, and knowing that we cannot exist without them. And I think of this as awe. Awe I define as the emotion we feel in response to something vast that defies our existing frame of reference and leads us to change our perception of that frame of reference. It is how we respond when we see something new or novel that doesn't fit with our understanding of the world. You can think of awe as wonder. You know, The World of Wonder was the book the Dharma School students read as the Dharma Talk last month. And the book talked about interdependence, how we are connected with each other, and that wonder is the root of empathy and love. You know, awe is an underappreciated emotion that's often overlooked. Awe is not identified as one of the 6 basic emotions like anger, surprise, disgust, joy, fear, and sadness, like the movie Inside Out. Did any of you see that? Yeah. It was a good movie, right? I think what I liked about it is, never mind. But emotions are generally thought to be about self-preservation, oriented toward minimizing danger and advancing competitive gains for the individual. But awe orients us to devote ourselves to things outside of our individual selves, to sense that the boundaries between our individual selves and others readily dissolve, and that our true nature is collective. This is the idea of interdependence. The feeling of awe doesn't have to be something dramatic. It can be a part of our everyday life, like watching the leaves of a tree change from green to yellow and brown, or seeing someone from the sandwich making group give food to a homeless person. In awe, we go in search of new forms of understanding. Any religious teaching is only a finger pointing to the beauty of the moon. It is not the moon itself. The beauty of the moon is too vast. We can only see that beauty through the eyes of awe. The world is always richer than ideas of trying to express our thoughts through words. As much as we think we know, we really can't ever know life fully. Not knowing is difficult for us. We want conclusions in our lives, but not knowing should be embraced. Not knowing is being open to possibilities. Our lives will be made by what we do with the many things that we can't understand. Fear, racism, xenophobia are all based on ignorance. When we sit in our homes by ourselves, often on our phones, we focus on the illusion of our differences. But when we can experience other cultures in person, we are confronted with human realities that we have in common, and I think this is awe. Awe makes us feel like a small piece of something larger and not fully in control of our world. It makes us feel humble, which makes us less self-centered and more connected to others. This allows us to see how we are sustained by others. We recognize that all we have is what we have been given. So to conclude my talk with the Dharma School students, awe is an important emotion that for all of us, but it's often overlooked. So powerful is our tendency to revere, to mark what is sacred, that what brings us awe. When we witness others expressing gratitude, the simplest act of reverence, we ourselves are moved to kindness. Experiencing awe is seeing a broader view of life. We tend to focus on the small piece of the puzzle, but when we zoom out and see the bigger picture, that is when we can experience awe. So thank you, Dharma School students. You're excused to go to class. Allison, that's not you. You can't leave. Oh, okay. Sorry. I want to continue talking about the emotion of awe. So, Connie gave a reflection some time ago that expresses the meaning of awe. And it goes like this. Sometimes I pompously question life and ask what its problems mean, while hundreds of exquisite little joys lie under my eyes unseen. Awe is critical to our well-being. Research suggests that experiencing awe has tremendous health benefits that include calming down our nervous system and triggering the release of oxytocin, sometimes called the love hormone, that promotes trust and bonding. We can experience awe in our everyday wonder and can be transformative in your life. Researchers are only more recently finding that our bodies respond differently when we are experiencing awe than when we are feeling joy, contentment, or fear. We make a different sound, show a different facial expression. Researchers found that awe activates the vagal nerves, clusters of neurons in the spinal cord that regulate various bodily functions, slows our heart rate, and deepens breathing. It also has psychological benefits. Some of us have a critical voice in our head. Many of us have a critical voice in our head, telling us that we're not smart, beautiful, or rich enough. Awe seems to quiet this negative self-talk by deactivating the default mode network, the part of the cortex involved in how we perceive ourselves. Awe is the absence of self-preoccupation. With so much social media in our lives focusing on criticism and entitlement, awe can get us out of our own heads and thinking of others. Have you ever felt thankful for something so deeply that there are no words to express your gratitude? I know I'm grateful beyond words when I remember that this life I have, this life I'm able to enjoy, is a gift received because of sacrifices of others. Many of you may remember Reverend Ogui. He used to say, our lives are not just our lives. Our lives exist because of the effort, kindness, and great sacrifices of others. And this is awe. And the benefits of awe can be explained as Nembutsu moments. It helps us realize our place in the larger context in our communities and our Sangha. Amida Buddha means infinite wisdom or understanding and boundless compassion or caring. Infinite compassion to me means everyday compassion that I find in my daily feelings of awe and gratitude for the life-giving efforts that produce, nurture, and sustain my life, whether I'm aware of it or not, like DNA molecules, the sunshine, the rain, the oxygen in air, just to name a few. These are things seen and unseen that nurture us, and There are endless lives of plants and animals I have taken and will continue to take to feed my body. We express our gratitude, which is an act of reverence for our appreciation of awe. As Shin Buddhists, we do this with gassho, placing our palms together and reciting Namo Amida Butsu. The recitation of Namo Amida Butsu is the power of wisdom and compassion as it is manifested in our daily lives. It's not a mantra, meditation, or practice which leads to enlightenment, but rather the expression of receiving the true or Buddha mind. You know, our default view is to criticize others, and that is what social media has trained us to do. But if we can see the kindness of others, to see the daily moments of actions that people do for others, we can start to strengthen our sense of awe. Awe is slowing down. It is cultivating awe through interest and curiosity. We may gloss over what we may think is the usual experiences in our lives, but the beginner's mind can give us an openness to awe. Now, Renyo, the 8th abbot of our tradition, who was alive during the 15th century, said, "We are accustomed to the same expressions concerning faith, but we should respond always as heard for the very first time. Usually we are attracted by newer interpretations, but no matter how many times we have heard it, our attitude should be to listen carefully and consider everything said as if it was uttered for the first time." You know, Connie and I have an artist friend in Minnesota. She has created art for over 50 years, painting and drawing the same tree located on the north shore of Lake Superior, which is on a Native American reservation. You know, she's received much acclaim and also criticism for this approach. But she feels each time she sees the tree, it's a different experience. She is different, the tree and environment are different. So I think her approach is one of awe. You know, people who experience awe are more open to new ideas, to be willing to not know, to realize there are things that we are unable to comprehend or explain through words. There is value to learn, unlearn, and relearn. You know, politicians are often accused of flip-flopping on issues, but that's not bad. When we learn, unlearn, and relearn, we should be open to change. Buddhism speaks about emptiness, that things do not have an intrinsic and lasting self, but that is being open to possibilities. Although the modern view of awe in Western society is overwhelmingly positive, awe is a complex emotion, one that can be intensely pleasurable or imbued with dread, depending on the context. Awe can be felt in response to nature's capacity for destruction, like bad storms, hurricanes, and tornadoes, or the wildfires in Hawaii and Southern California. Or leaders' coercive charisma, like we are currently experiencing. These events transcend my thinking of the world, but these experiences are different for each of us. You know, many of you went to the hands-off protests yesterday, and I know I saw many of the social media posts, and I understand these protests occurred in all 50 states. But you know, sometimes all we can do is to act to the best of our ability, to act fully in our space. But if everybody does what they can, however small it may seem, together we can make a big difference. You know, to feel more awe is to engage in the world with a more open mind, see possibilities, ask questions, and look for the impossible. You know, look for things you've never seen before, visit places you have never been before, go outside into nature, read a topic unfamiliar to you. Physically, look up from your phone. During the pandemic, I felt I learned more about the social effects on marginalized community that I never knew before. For me, that was an experience of awe. Awe does not occur in our self-centered world of greed, anger, and ignorance, or stupidity. These three poisons are sometimes referred to the acronym GAS. So awe does not occur when we have gas. Awe comes from Buddha activity in our life. Nature is a wonderful source of awe. You know, Terry talked about this in her recent Dharma talk. Trees form a network with each other to take care of each other, and they are very social. A tree by itself does not thrive as well in a forest. Trees in a forest take care of one another by a web of communication of fungi. This is a way to share enormous amount of information and nutrients. They take care of one another. And I recently watched a documentary called fantastic fungi. I know that conjures up a joke, right? The guy goes in the bar, and never mind, a fungi. I learned so many things from it, and this partnership between them is amazing. And these trees share nutrients through a network of connections by fungi because they need one another. You know, when you cannot express your gratitude through ordinary words, sometimes all you can say is Namo Amida Butsu, bowing our heads in humility for all that we have received. As Reverend Ron says at the end of his Dharma Talks, to live with gratitude and kindness beyond words. Please join me in Gasho as we recite the Nembutsu together in a moment of awe for the infinite wisdom and boundless compassion that we receive in our everyday lives. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.